Hey guys, welcome back to the Quick Speed Shop. My name's Josh, and today we're working on the vintage dragster build. We're going to be working on the front axle, so let's take a look. Here's the dragster chassis, mounted T-rails. If you haven't been here, I'm building a 50s nailhead powered 1950s style dragster with all original parts, white wall slicks, Model T frame rails. It's a Deathtrap. We're going to build it. So let's take a look at the front axle here. What I have is a Model A Ford dropped axle. It's been heated up and bent here back in the day, and then they windowed it. They cut the webbing out. See this 37 axle here? It's got solid all the way. Well, somebody went and they torched the webbing right out of this. See all the torch marks? Which is super cool, because I've seen other early dragsters where they took an early Ford axle and windowed it. It's neat that this is dropped. I picked up some Model A shackles for it at the swap meet last week. But here's the big problem with this axle. For whatever reason, somebody welded the spindles to it. So the first thing I do is I could cut those spindles free, which is going to be a chore. This axle will be way too weak to run on a street car. I mean, you cut all the strength out of it. But for what I'm doing to this dragster, it's going to be fine. So I'm going to work on that. And I want to show you something with the hubs. All right, here we are outside. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here with these wheels. Now we got... This is like a 32 to 35 axle. Mechanical brakes. See, it's got the drums like I got inside here with the 5 and 5.5 bolt pattern. That's the drum there. Well, here is what I'm talking about. This is an early 36. This is 1 year only. It's got a different spindle. The spindle is longer for 36 only. But this is an early 36. It goes to wide 5. See how much fatter this is cast. They only did this for like a month or two, and then they went to a solid style drum, which is here on a different axle. This is cable brakes, so this is 37 or 38, and they went to a solid style drum with a little bit shorter spindle. This is a round back spindle here. See, it's all round. These are 37 to 41 spindles. This is a 36 only spindle. It's longer, and this is a 32 to 35 spindle here. So I was really bumming. These are super hard to find. Only made them for a month or two in early 36. But then I just happened to be walking around on a nice day. It's 50 degrees out tonight. I got home. I went on a little tour of the property. Let me show you what I found. I'm just going to put this in the video because I happen to be right by it. See this here? It's the back half of a 58 Plymouth. It's a Savoy. Oh, there's no badge on that side. 58 Plymouth Savoy right there. If anybody knows where there's a 57 Belvedere or Savoy two-door, prefer a hardtop or post 57 Plymouth, I'm looking to do one of those for a future project tribute car on the channel. They're super hard to find. They're super expensive. It doesn't have to run. It doesn't even have to have an engine, but I want one that's got good glass and is solid body-wise. You know, it could have a little bit of rust in the floors and stuff. They're hard to find, completely rust for their big bucks, but I'm preferably looking for a two-door hardtop, but a two-door post will work. If you know anybody that's got one that's reasonable, say under $15,000, let me know. You can send me an email at the channel or comment below or email quickspeedshop@gmail.com. All right, here we go. Now in the Blues Brothers, they said the Lord works in mysterious ways. Well, he gave me a nice day, so I went for a little stroll. I happened to be checking out junk I had. What is this? I forgot this was sitting here and I forgot to look at it. This is what I'm looking for. Early 36 drums, a pair of them that are decent shape. The threads are, I can still get lug nuts on them. 36 axle, 36 wishbone, 36 spindles with the mechanical brakes. So the mechanical brakes work, by the way, of this weird knob. I forgot I got this here. I dragged that. Let's see. I got that out of a estate sale. I was laying in the dingleweeds. I dragged it here, and it was all pretty much rough. You see, there's a pretty rough rear end here. I just threw it by this tree for some yard art. Forgot all about it. Haven't seen it all winter because it's been nasty out. That's exactly what I need for the front of the dragster. Exactly. I can't believe it. It's sitting here. Now you know what I'm going to say next. Don't trash it. when you can stash it. I can't believe I stashed this back here and forgot about it and just discovered it. It's every day's a scavenger hunt. I found like the rarest part that I've been looking for right here in stock. Unbelievable. So I'm gonna drag this up to the shop. This is all going on the dragster. This is like better than winning $1 million at Power. Well, not quite that, but I can't believe it. Well, I got the front end in the shop now. This is gonna be a real chore to get this thing apart. So let's take a look. Right now it's upside down, but we'll take a look in here. These are your brake drums. See some brake parts here. It pushes through the kingpin. See this round piece here? There's a shaft in there. And I've taken the one side, still had the brake piece off. This is your cam. See the cam on the end of it? And when you pull, had a brake lever there that's left from that brake rod, it would work this cam and push down on the rod that was in here, and that would activate the shoes on the drums. Now, the brakes are obviously stuck super hard. This one, the nut is intact where I can get it off the spindle. But let's look over here. This sat on the ground for years. This kingpin nut is just about gone. I'm going to have to cut that. Look at the spindle nut on this side. Just about gone. Hopefully I can get that. I'll probably have to cut that loose. Hopefully the spindle is okay. The brakes are really stuck on this side bad. I thought about, the braking surface is here. I thought about taking the cutter and cutting the drum here and just using, this is pretty thick here, just using this front surface as my wheel part. But I think maybe if I cut the backing plate, cut the lip off the backing plate, which are both pretty rusted. This one's rusted through in the center. Cut that off. I get in there, I can beat on the shoes, try to loosen the shoes up. The braking surface should be like a woven, like cloth-ish material. I should be able to bust that free by beating on it, and maybe I could free it up, get the nuts off, take the drums off, take the backing plates off, which you need to have the drums off to get this bolt out for part of the actuation of the brakes. So I'm going to have to work on this, probably if I get some heat. I'm sure this kingpin is, or this perch bolt is stuck in the axle real bad. I'm going to have to get some heat and get that out. I'm sure I'm going to need heat to get the kingpins out of the axles. The backing plates and all that's going to come off first. So I'm going to cut the tie rod end right out of the way. Just leave that freed up. Let's see if I can knock these steering arms loose, get the drums going back and forth. But it's going to have to be a lot of work to get this apart. I only time-lapsed a little bit of that. Oh man, what a fight. I had to cut the backing plates, absolutely destroy the way the shoes mount here. But I got it. Got the drum rotating now. Got the shoes freed up. That was an absolute nightmare. You can see the bonded, or the woven brake material. Hopefully that's not full of asbestos. Probably is. Okay. So I'm going to run the impact now on the nut over here. So let's try it here. Make sure we're going the right way. No problem. Barely on there. So I'm hoping. Oh, here it comes. Bam. Woo. Nice. Here we go. Oh man, look at the rust. These things were stuck. Look at that. They were stuck forever. Man, these drums are thick. I bet they would turn if somebody wanted to run early 36 drums. I bet, oh, you know what? They might have been turned once. Now I see a lip. Well, anyways, bam, there's one. That's the easy one. Oh boy. Bits and pieces. Luckily, the spindle's in nice shape. Should be able to just... Those will come right off there if I undo the upper spring. They're pretty simple how they work. Actually, Ford mechanical brakes. These are 36 the last year for the rod brakes. 37 and 38, they went to cable brakes. And I would put cable brakes up against early hydraulic, like 39 to 41 hydraulics, the non-engine, non-engine self-energizing ones. I would put cable 37, 38 brakes up against early hydraulics any day. They seem to work pretty good. Come on out of there. Oh, man. No wonder the shoes... Look at that. Man, this thing was rusted. Who knows how many years this front end was out of a car. Man. Yeah, see, the mechanical brakes, they had woven shoes, like a woven material. And that's what got the stop. Modern metallic linings actually are worse for mechanical brakes because you just don't have the leverage to make them stop good. These woven shoes are what made the mechanical brakes work. But it's really hard to get them relined. There we go, you can see the inside. I'm sure this is labeled, laden with asbestos. I'm sure it is. So now we know who to sue when I got asbestosis. Henry Ford. You can see I freed this kingpin up too. I'll take the remnants of the backing plate off, and then I'll take the cross bolt out of the kingpin, and I'll try to drive it out. I'll probably need some heat. I don't know yet. We'll see. The other drum is really going to fight me. That's even worse, rust-wise. Not looking forward to that, but... All right, it's the next day. I'm ready to pull the spindles off. This one, let's see, is this passenger side? Yeah, passenger side. This one works really nice here. It's a little sloppy in the lower bushing, which is going to be okay for what I'm doing, but obviously you don't want to rebush this if it was a street car. I'm loosening up the jam nuts here. There's a cross bolt that's tapered that goes through, and it interfaces with the kingpin to hold the spindle in. This side is a little... It only turns about that far, but I've got it in like the kind of free range where hopefully I can knock these kingpins out and get them out without too much trouble. So let's get this one first. Let's try it. I'm going to run the nut off this. Oh, it's actually just finger tight. I can take it off by hand. And where's my hammer? Knock this keeper pin, cross bolt, whatever you want to call it, out. It's tapered, so it'll come out easily. Oh, there we go. Bam. So this is tapered, and it's got a like an edge on it there that interfaces with a kingpin. So now I'm hoping to be able to take this aluminum punch I got and just drive this kingpin out. Let's see how it goes. Oh. It's stiff already. I might have to get the torch out. This thing has been set up for so many years. Oop. It's, is that going? Man, it's going. It's hurting my hand. The aluminum's not going to damage the kingpin. But I need my safety glasses, and I want to put on a glove because that's hurting my hand holding on to that. If I had a round pin for my air chisel, I could have used that, but I don't have one. So let's see if I can just drive it out this way. Can't see. It's going. Oh yeah, there we go. She's coming. Oops. Uh-oh. 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 How did that happen now? Well, that was smart. My stupid little... Yeah. Hutsa! It's deformed my aluminum. I didn't want to be outside of the kingpin and get in the bushing, but I don't want to get stuck in there either. Okay. Aha! Come on now. Ta-da! All right. See on the kingpin there's where that keeper would go. That came out. We got our bearing up here to ride on. That's good. Now this should, look at that, come right off of there. Got a little washer in the bottom. How the bushings look there, the bronze bushings, they're in there. This should... Just gonna stick this back in here so I don't lose the parts. There we go. There's the passenger side arm. I'll clean this pin up. It'll go right back in a lot easier. Obviously, this hasn't been greased in years and years and years, but it came out. And this is a 32. Let me see. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is a 32 to 36 axle. They're all the same spring perch width, and they're the same boss, 2¼ inch boss. I like to run these because they have, like, I don't know, 1.5 inch drop versus like a Model A axle. Or maybe, actually, let me think about this. I'm sorry, this is 33 to 36. They got a little bit more drop than the Model A and 32 axles. So I like to run these. I actually have one of these in my Model A hot rod coupe. It gives you just like a little drop if you couldn't afford to get a drop axle back in the day. This just has a little bit of factory drop, but it bolts in a Model A or a 32 Ford. So that's why I like to hang on to these. I've got a couple of them. And I'll be hanging on to this one because the axle is in nice shape. It's straight, and if everything comes apart, it will clean up and make a good axle. This side, a little more dubious because it doesn't have a lot of play in it now. And I don't know how it's going to work out. But we'll find out right now. Cross pin came right out. Actually had more grease on that one. Let's try it. Where's my bashing piece? I wish this was just a little bit bigger diameter so it didn't get stuck down in there. But we'll start off here. We'll see how we do. Oh. That's pretty solid. Man. Am I hitting some? It's just bouncing, huh? It might be going. I can't tell. Woo! Ooh, that's vibrating my hand. It's starting to go. I might need to have a bigger hammer. I thought I moved it, but I haven't. And I probably also got to heat up. Let's try to beat on this here, this pin I've been soaking overnight. This probably isn't going to go anywhere either. We'll see. Ooh, that vibrated my hand. Woo, that's solid. Nope. Put the heat to her. All right, let's try it. It'd be easier if I had somebody holding the torch. Where's my glove? Ah, crap. Don't have the heat go away yet. Nice. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's still tight. Damn. Is it going? I think it's going a little bit. Woo! Might be going a little bit. Really, I wish I had something bigger, round diameter to beat on, because this, when it goes down in there, it hurts me. You know what? Let me stick a bolt in there. I can beat on the bolt. There we go. Now I can beat on this. You started off by beating on it. Okay, it's going. Woo! Awesome. Woo! It's tough though. Man. She's going though. Ah. Well, I'm not going to lie, that took way longer than I thought it was going to take to get that front axle apart. Let me show you one thing I had to do. I didn't film this because it just took forever. The one perch bolt that was left, I had to drill it out because I heated it and heated it and heated it and beat on it. And look at these bolts that I smashed over. That's 7/16, that's 3/8 back there, and that's 1/2 inch. Smashed all them bolts out. I finally had it drilled out and got on the edge of it and was able to relieve it, and then I was able to knock it out. But that was an extremely nightmare. So I've got the wishbone here. I'm going to split this. That's going to be mounted on the front. Got the spindles, the passenger side. I just clean up the kingpin, and the bushings are fairly tight-ish. It'll be good enough for the dragster. The driver's side, because I had to beat the crap out of it, the bottom bushing is tore up pretty bad in there. I hand filed all the rough edges out of it, but it'll be fine. It's going to be a little bit loose. I've got to put new grease fittings on these. Packet full of grease. You see that one's rusted right off. I'll have to drill it and probably tap it. But the top bushing's not too bad. I'll clean it up. The kingpin goes in there, and I'm going to sandpaper emery cloth. But you can see the corrosion that was on there. These things were locked right up solid, and it was all I could do to get them out without destroying them. This one was a real bear, as you saw on the driver's side. So now my next trick, I've got the drop Model A axle up here, and I've got to cut these welds and get these spindles off here. These are junk. They're Model A. They're ruined here. What I'm going to do is take the grinder and cut into where the perch pin is here, or the kingpin, I mean. Cut it here and cut it here with a grinder. Get the outside of the spindle off, then just start working my way around. I got to leave some material for the boss on the axle, which is kind of burned over, and I'll just have to grind it and form it and get it back down to where it's supposed to be. But it's gonna be is what it is. Actually, hold on a minute. Let's hold up this. Are these kingpins the same diameter? Oh yeah, okay. So I've got the kingpins that fit my bushings, even though they're completely shot. Good enough for who it's for. So that's my next trick, cutting these guys off. Well, I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot of fun. A lot of cutting and beating, but I got it. And the axle actually isn't too torn up too bad. I was able to grind it down. It's rough, and there's some damage and stuff around it, but the bosses are still pretty good. I just fit a steering arm on it. It's gonna work good. But here, I'll show you the Model A ones I had to cut off. I ended up cutting through both sides of the pin, and a lot of the welding, bashing them, so I'll bash them off there, and then all little pieces got them free. So now I'm gonna start setting this up. One thing I forgot, Model A axles, the perch boss here is 2 1/4 inches, and the 33 to 36 wishbones are 2 inches. I want to use these wishbones because they're kind of pitted up. They're not really good for a car. So I'm going to have to go and grind a 1/4 inch out of the bosses here. Probably mostly out of the top one because it's so much thicker. And grind it down a 1/4 inch to get it to fit over the bosses in the axle. But that's going to be fine. It's going to work out for it here. But I have some more different wishbones. I have some I'm sure are 2 1/4 inch, but I really want to use this one because it's not, like I said, it's not really useful for a car. It's got a lot of pitting in it, pretty heavy pitting, so it's probably a little thinner than I would like to use on a actual project. So we'll modify that, and I like them because they're long. They'll come back on the frame of ways. Okay, the steering arms are going on the axle good. I got the driver's side done here. It fits the boss. I had some kingpin parts, so I got a new bearing on top, and I got a new felt grease cup for the bottom, and it's pretty tight. It's got a little bit of play in it, but I haven't greased it yet. This lower one, the grease fitting is rusted off, and it's too hard to drill, so I had to grease it by use my finger. With the upper one, the grease fitting works, so I'll pack this with grease later. But this, it's turning nice. Now with this drop axle, you really should drop the steering arms, because watch, this is a steering stop, but the steering arm hits the axle here. See it hit the axle before it hits the steering stop. But for this dragster, it's not going to matter. I don't need a full lock-to-lock, so I'm not going to be doing that with the strap axle. It's fine. And let's see how this fits here. Okay. This felt grease cup goes on the bottom first, and I kind of got to wedge it in because it's a tight fit. So just kind of work it. The felt wants to, I had trouble with this on the other side, the felt wants to mush around, so you kind of got to like put it in place and then drag this over, then get the kingpin ready. Just kind of do it all at once. Oh, there we go. So the side's going together pretty decent. Just kind of wiggle her around. Aha, I got it. Bam. Look at that. All right. And now the steering arm cross bolt here. This is tapered, and there's a keeper in the axle. So I'll put that like that. I mean, a keeper in the kingpin, I'm sorry. Come on now. Go. Bam. Here we go. Look at that. Bam. Now this one, the lower bushing on this side was worn. Actually, both bushings are a little worn, so it's going to have a little bit of slop in this axle, but that's going to be, is what it is. I'll fill some up with grease. Right now it's not greased to capacity, but I knew the bushing was a little worn. But there we go. So I'll explain to you why I'm so excited about these hubs. Here's my front wheels. These are wide 5. See this big pattern here? Ford made these wheels from 1936 to 1939. Most of them are 16 by 4, but if you had a V8 60 car with a 60 horsepower flathead, they were 16 by 3.5. These came on my 37 V8 60 Ford, but someone has changed them out. They are not 3.5 inches wide, they're 4 inches wide. So the whole reason I wanted these early 36 hubs is, watch this. Put it up here so you can see it. When I put the wheel in the center, look at that. It's going to make a real cool spindle mount look, like a spindle mount wheel. And you'll see just the hub sticking through. This is pine tree juice. Now it's all sticky. Dang it. Anyways, you'll see this cool, it'll be spindle mount. So you'll have the tire and the wheel, and then you'll have this spindle mount hub. It's going to be a pretty neat look that a lot of people aren't going to even know what it is, but it's going to be really slick on the front of the dragster and kind of like a lightweight feel. So that's why I was so excited to find that axle out in the back. I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video for now. Now I got the front axle built. Next time we're going to get the wishbone out. We'll split the wishbone, grind it to fit the axle, set it up on the front end, build a spring mount, get the new front spring out, get the perches out, put all the front suspension together, and actually mount it to the frame. I think it's good. It's going to be way too much to do it in this video, so we'll do all that next time. But bam, all early Ford parts, fighting with rusty junk, stuff that had been probably not in a car in 50, 60, 70 years maybe. I mean, these are all, the newest part on here is 1936, so that's 87 years old, this stuff. So it worked out pretty good. Was able to get stuff apart, and now we're putting it back together. So thanks for watching. Next time, we'll put the front end together. This is a really cool build. I can't wait to get it rolling and fire it up and drive it. It's going to be super cool. So I appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget to like down here. Give the thumbs up for the like. Subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bam. Building cool dragster stuff here at the Quick Speed Shop. I'm a professional. Don't try this at home.